Hey guys, I wanted to record Naturally Supernatural Part 2 and just really go into how simple this actually is. Now, I get fascinated with the divinity in man and that's naturally who we are, and all the positive attributes that you believe about God, that he's all knowing, that he's all powerful, that he can do everything, is actually the divinity in man. It's exactly how we're designed. And so I was reading Greg Braden's Divine Matrix again this morning, and some different things, and how really that's what we're all after. And the spirit within you, the true nature of divinity of God within you, is who you really are, and we all know it from little kids. You know, we dream of things. Go, gosh, this would be the greatest life ever. Well, I'm here to tell you, is when you let go of all the wrong beliefs that we've believed about ourselves, that's who you naturally are, and everything just starts to work exactly how you'd like it to be, and then you're in complete peace. And so it's interesting. I was reading Divine Matrix again this morning, and you don't have to go read these things. I just share because it's fascinating to me how truth is truth, and science and scriptures that interpreted correctly have to be true. There can't be one biblical truth and then the rest of the world doesn't operate under that. The problem is, guys, as I've been trying to show you, so many things that we've interpreted in the Western translation in scripture are actually exact opposite of what it says. It's celebrating divinity in man. Like Aleph or Alpha, which in later Greek was translated no or not, or you can't have it, was exact opposite of what it meant in Greek and Hebrew. It means the strength of the ox, or the unstoppable power of God within you, the strength of the Creator, both physically and spiritually. And oh man, that stuff gets me excited. But this is what's so fascinating to me, is they've proven, guys, that your emotions affect DNA. And so the worst thing you could ever do is tell people they're a sinner, because that means they're dirty, they're gross, they're whatever. And then God was so upset with you, he couldn't even look at you. Well, your heart knows that that's not true. Your heart knows you've always been perfect in God's divine design. That word amartia does not mean you've missed the mark. It doesn't mean anything like that. It literally means the strength of the Creator is your inheritance and your portion in life, both physically and spiritually, that Alpha and Aleph, which is so cool. And so anyway, there's no doubt that when you have an emotion, it literally affects your DNA. And what's great, guys, is your DNA with the actual, you don't have to know it all. I geek out on some of this stuff. But in short, is the DNA, when you place it, reading this again, it's so cool. When you place it in a test tube with nothing there but photons, energy, it literally shapes that energy, period. So what does that mean? What you do within, guys, literally shapes the material world. It's as if the world is like Play-Doh, that we're so divinely designed. And so thoughts and emotions create the physical realm. Now, here's what's really great. If you don't like what you see, and over again in the Divine Matrix, even in the Hebrew writings, it says everything you experience, we have our own little world, is just a reflection of what's going on in here. And so if we want something to change out there, it's so simple that we just need to change what's going on in here, the energy that's in here, what we focus on in here. When we pay attention to something, they call it the observer effect. When we expect something to be there, it becomes. That is amazingly divine, guys, of how we're created. Now, here's where the challenge is, which we're trying to help people out with. Most people are on autopilot. They have the same emotions, they have the same feelings day after day after day, and they don't know how to get rid of those negative feelings. And this is how divinely designed you are. It's really easy. So here's what's really great, guys. As I've been sharing, is when a negative feeling comes up, whether it's about relationships, whether it's about whether you can have success, whether it's about whether you can have money, whether you can have divine health, etc., those feelings actually shape the physical world. So most people don't even know they have limiting beliefs that they've been placed in. It goes. I was listening to a message from Lester, and he said education has learned ignorance. And Barb and I joke about that so much, because education just teaches you your limits, where the true nature in you knows that you're infinite. You can do anything. All things are possible. except you're not. It's so contradictory. So he goes, really, once you let go of all those limiting beliefs, all those things that are causing you fear, worry, that you can't have something, that you might run out of something. Think about all the coverage we get today. It's really interesting. Some of you guys may disagree, but I just knew intuitively when I first graduated from the Air Force Academy, and they made me an environmental engineer. I didn't know you weren't supposed to ask questions. You were supposed to just fall in line with and so they were talking about all these things that the earth is running out of, which now obviously decades later, we haven't run out of anything. And that was my question. I said, what have we run out of? And it was honestly like, shut up, Lieutenant, go back to that's not the point. I'm like, well, I thought this was the point. If we're trying to conserve, and conservation of anything, guys, is a limiting belief that God's not good enough, that he's not an all-abundant God that would supply everything we ever need. So all those thoughts are just negative things that we've picked up. So the fear that this is happening, and all these different fears, they're unwarranted, guys. We're going to create the essence within us that causes that. So here's what's really great. If there's any negative feeling, it's really not true about you, because God within, the spirit within, bends and shapes to you. And so what's great, guys, is you can allow that negative feeling to come up. You don't try to change it. You don't try to figure it out. You really just, let's pick any. They really kind of fall into three areas to me. When, in ministry, this is what I get all the time. I don't have enough love. I feel helpless, or I feel scared that I might not have enough of something: money, health, love, who knows? But it's all these fears, right? And so, which is the problem too, is, some of these devotionals go, thou shalt not fear. God has 365 promises in the Bible that thou shalt not fear. Problem is the no or not's not there, because your brain doesn't understand no or not. And so intuitively, that's where I knew something was off, because if you say don't think about ice cream, your mind holds the concept of ice cream, and eventually ice cream shows up. Exactly what you were trying not to do, because no's or nots are not in there. We think in pictures. Literally, we think of ice cream. So those thou shalt not fear, it literally says you shall come to experience the awe of God. The no or not is you shall come to experience, have intimacy with the awesomeness of God, which is within you. So anyway, they introduce fear. Now Christians fear everything. So here's what's cool. So if you have fear, you just go, I just allow that fear to come up. You don't try to push it down. You don't do anything, because it's contrary to your true nature. Your true nature is not fearful of anything, because it knows it already has everything and can enjoy anything at any time. That's the unlimited power of God within you. That's who you truly are. So what's really great, the easiest way you can have anything, guys, is allow that feeling to come up. And you simply just go, you experience it. You actually, in your heart level, you allow it to start to feel that anxiousness, that fear. What is it that you fear? And you just experience that feeling. Just allow that feeling to come up. And just go, it's okay for me to feel this way. And at first it feels like you're doing it wrong, because it intensifies. And most of the time, your pattern, guys, your habit is, oh no, I don't want to feel that feeling. Like, so let's just try cover it up with more prayer, or get into the Bible more, go do something else to get my mind off it, etc. The problem is it's still there. And until you let go of it, or address this thing, it's going to be with you forever, which is why you can keep going through the same pattern. So if life is not exactly how you want it, guys, by looking out here, then all we need to do is release the negative thing that we don't want, and life will start to become exactly how you want it. That's how divinely designed we are. So just allow that feeling to come up. It's okay for me to feel this anxiousness. It gets a little tense, it gets a little more intense here, not up here, guys, right here in your heart level. And you'll naturally, if you're doing it, you'll go, oh, you start to breathe out. And just go, it's okay to be experienced this way. And even if it intensifies, all of a sudden there's just this, it fades away. It literally dissipates, because it's just a feeling. It's just a thought. Now, what's cool with that, guys, it takes years and years and thousands of negative beliefs with it. It doesn't take as long to release as it did for you to learn all these bad habits of knots. And then you just feel it again. Is it there? Eventually, guys, what's so cool is you do it, If it takes you an hour today, is that worth it to feel free, to feel joy, to feel unlimited peace? Like, oh my God, I've never felt this much peace in my life. Yes, it is. So don't stop if you don't get it the first time. It's okay. Just go, it's okay for me to feel this negative. It's okay for me to feel this. And eventually it goes away. Now, what happens, guys? It's really cool. The mind becomes completely calm. Mind becomes completely quiet. Science calls it alpha and theta. You're very coherent at this point. So your brain, your mind, your thinking, guys, is as only good as the information you put in it. So if you put in, you can't do this, or if you eat this, this causes this to your body, or unless you do this, unless you have this kind of degree, you can only make this kind of money. Those are all limiting beliefs, guys. Go ask all the billionaires that didn't go to school. Go ask all the musicians, the artists that to go. I was self-taught. I knew from within. That's why I love the documentaries. Like you guys know, if you get on the fellowships about music, is they stopped the brain enough and they paid attention to the good feelings of here's how great it would be to be this musician, to be this rock star, to be this businessman. And the infinite spirit of God within you knows everything, has all the power. Your brain is only good what you put in it. So it really is, once you stop that and once you calm all those thoughts down, and the feelings cause the thoughts, guys. That's why you're on autopilot. So once that's gone, here's what's really cool. You imagine anything now, and then almost immediately happens because all the I am nots are gone. And you don't have to add anything to God. God is God, the Spirit of God within you. And that's what's so great, guys, is when you see something as if it's already real without all those negative programs running, they've all been released. You let go of all those. All that's left is pure divinity. And what I think is fascinating, guys, it happens so fast because God doesn't take a lot of time to be God. And so the easiest way for you to have everything to start working exactly how you want it in your life, so you're in peace. Think about that, guys. If everything was working exactly how you desired it to be, you'd be at complete peace. Well, we have the ability to do that. That's what's really wild about the whole thing. And the simplest way is you've always been one with God. The power of God's always been in you. God knows everything. So the answer to every question is within you. Even questions go away. Once you get rid of, I don't know this, you just let go of that anxiousness where I don't know. It's okay for me to feel that I don't know. All of a sudden, all those things that I don't know, I haven't been educated on this. I don't know the answer. I don't know what this means. It goes away and you know. Because the Spirit of God within you is I am, it knows. That's what's really cool. And I think it's fascinating that when I was reading the Divine Matrix again, here's what's so cool, guys, is they look at the world as like a hologram. It means every little piece is a smaller subset of the whole thing, where they've proven that they can take DNA out of you, or from somebody else, and put it across the other side of the world. And when you have an emotion, of any emotion, whether it's negative emotions like fear or positive emotions of complete peace, in real time, guys, simultaneously, it changes that DNA that's not even connected to you on the side of the world at the same time. And then they've proven that DNA literally bends and shapes what we call light, photons, the essence of all creation, into physical reality. So what's really true is exactly what in Happiness is Free, what he's talking about here. He says, once you get rid of all the I am nots, you let all those negative emotions leave, and there's just a calmness. There's just peace. Then whatever you think on literally happens almost instantaneously. And he says, once you get there, when you're in tune, when you have a thought, every atom in the universe moves to fulfill your thought. That's exactly true. They've shown that in science. Everything responds to you. So when you have a feeling of this is so great, this is exactly how I like my life to look, and you experience as if it's real right now, you experience that joy and peace of already doing it, that literally changes every atom in the universe. It molds and shapes like Play-Doh and brings it into physical reaction. It literally is every atom in the universe brings to fulfill that thought. And I just think that's so cool. So I'm going to leave you with this this is just a story out of the Divine Matrix. It says, we have all the power we need to create all the things, whatever we choose, which is really true, guys. So he's talking about Neville, and he says, one of the most poignant stories has remained with me for years. It involved a man in his 20s who had been diagnosed with a rare heart condition his doctors believed was fatal. Married with 2 children, he was loved by everybody who knew him and had every reason in the world to enjoy a long and healthy life. But by the time Neville got to speak with him, the man had lost a tremendous amount of weight and shrunk to almost a skeleton. He was so weak that even conversation was hard for him. He agreed to simply listen and nod his understanding as Neville shared with him the power of that man's beliefs. And see, here's the thing, guys. Most of you go and you know, why does this keep happening to me? Why does this keep happening to me? It's just a wrong program in there, guys. Those feelings, and the world should show you if it's not exactly how you want it. Don't get upset with yourself. Just go, I know how to change this now. Is to let go of that feeling that, oh no, I might not have it. What if this doesn't happen? What if I run out of money? What if I run out of health? All those fears. When you let go of those fears, they're all gone. Now the thoughts stop because the feeling causes the thoughts. And then you just can create. So it says, from the perspective of participating in a dynamically evolving world or universe, meaning that we are molders and shapers of the physical realm. Of course we are, guys. So why pray? Pray is to be supernatural. We want something outside to change. The problem with most interpretations of scriptures, you're praying to somebody out there. That's fickle. It's like, that's why the stories of like Ananias and Sapphira are so bad if you read them in the Western translation, because if God even knew that something you blaspheme the Holy Spirit, you could fall dead here. Well, I haven't seen anybody do it. It's not what it means. It's not what it means at all. But anyway, if you really get into it, guys, it's so fascinating, because where it says when they showed their feet where they were exposed, go look at it. It's the Hebrew word regal, where we get wherever your foot shall tread shall be given you. It basically says whatever you create shall be given. And that, go look up the Hebrew word regal. It's an interesting word. It says the genitals. The genitals of God were exposed or experienced, meaning the ability to create. It wasn't dirty. It was the ability to create. But anyway, that's totally, but I just, you don't have to go know all those verses. Just know that if there's anything negative that sounds like God's not, like, that's a really strange God, like I would never do that, just know that's not it. That's not how it was. Just a wrong interpretation in the 4th century. It's all about the ability to create spiritually and physically, 2 love covenants, period. I promise you, we can go to toe every verse. I've never had one that is not that, despite what your pastor's showing you on Sunday morning. The real question is, do you want your theology to be right, or do you want your life to be right and your kids to be normal and life works? That's what I wanted, guys. So anyway, like this guy, he said, he goes, the solution to any problem is to change an attitude in your consciousness. Neville asked the man to experience himself as if his healing had already taken place. As the poet William Blake suggested, there's a fine line between imagination and reality. Here's the thing, guys. What you do within, the outside is a reflection of all that's what's in. Man is all imagination. Just as physicist David Bohm proposed that this world is a projection of events in a deeper realm of reality, Blake continues, all that you behold, though it appears without, it is within. Meaning the energy that you have, guys, shapes the material world. In your imagination, of which this world of mortality is just but a shadow, meaning that out there is changeable, what you experience. So in a single sentence, anyway, I'm sorry, it says, through a power of consciously focusing on the things that we create in our imagination, we give them the nudge that brings them from the barrier of the unreal, we could call it spiritual, into the physical. In a single sentence, Neville explains how he provided the words that would help his new friend accomplish his new way of thinking. Quote, I suggested that in his imagination, he sees the doctor's face expressing incredulous amazement in finding him recovered, contrary to all reason, from the last stages of an incurable disease. Then he sees him double checking in his examination and hear the doctor saying over and over, it's a miracle. It's a miracle. Well, you can guess the reason why I'm sharing this story. The fellow did get better. Months later, the visionary received a letter telling him that the young man had, in fact, made a truly miraculous recovery. The secret the man revealed was, rather than simply wishing for his health, since the day of our meeting, he had lived from the assumption he had already been well and healed. Herein we find the secret of propelling our heart's desires from the state of imagination, what you do within, to the reality of what we experience in our lives. It's our ability to feel as if our dreams have already come to life, our wishes are fulfilled, and our prayers answered. All right, let's just. So when you change the feeling within, guys, they've proven that every atom in the universe literally moves at the exact same simultaneous moment to start to bring that into reality. Exactly what he says. When you let go of all the negatives, guys, all that's left is pure God in you. Well, God can't be stopped. This is the creative ability of God within man. Every atom in the universe moves to fulfill your thought. And he goes, if you've ever listened to some of the stories, like Rhonda Byrne, etc., she's like, everything just seems to happen to you once you let go, once you peel away all the negatives. So here's what's amazing. Your feelings change the DNA, the very core of your being. And they've proven that DNA literally shapes matter, shapes the material world just by its presence. So that's pretty cool. The problem is most people don't know how to unchange the negative feelings. That's why this is the simplest way, guys. You can get rid of addictions, anything negative. And maybe I'll take a few weeks to just go through different things about how to deal with negative people in your life, and maybe fear, and they're all the same, but it's just walking people through this. So here's what's great. Just any negative feeling you have, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough health, what if this is going to happen? Allow that negative feeling to come up, guys. Let's go, it's okay for me to feel this way. And it'll intensify. It feels like you're doing it wrong probably in the beginning because it feels worse, and you don't want to feel that way. If you've ever had trauma in your life where you've been betrayed, and whether it's in a relationship or in business, etc., those things keep running. You keep having the same habits. Well, I don't want you to keep having the same habits. I want you to have life exactly how you want it, starting today, where literally is life at the speed of thought. So you allow those negatives to come up until there's just a peace. And each time you do it, guys, it'll be less and less until there's no peace. Now you even have, it'd be amazing to have X. And we do this with what we do in prayer, guys. What he's teaching them to go, hey, see the doctor going, it's a miracle. It's a miracle. So one of the easiest things I do when people say, hey, can you help do this with me? I'm really trying to show you don't need our help, that you can do it within. All we do, a lot of times what I do is I just go, I don't know what I feel about that emotion like you did. I don't know what you did, but I'm blown away how fast that happened. So you're feeling the joy and the awe of how good it happens. I promise you guys, if that's where you place your attention, if your mind wanders like, oh my God, what if it's not true? I'm not worthy to have this. I'm not good enough. I'm guilty. I don't deserve this. I've always experienced failure. Just a pattern, just wrong belief. It's really easy to change the pattern, more easy than you've ever thought. Allow that negative feeling that I've always experienced this. It'll never work for me. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. Experience that it's okay for me to feel that negative feeling. It's okay for me to feel like a failure. Feel that emotion in your chest area. Stay with it. Just let it be there. I promise you it'll dissipate all by itself. And more until there's just peace. Then when you go, oh my God, I don't know what you did, but this is so amazing that this happens so freely in my life. It happens very quickly, guys. Not months, weeks, if not exactly today. So that's operating in the supernatural. That's how you're designed, guys. Hopefully that helps. God bless. Oh, we'll see tomorrow. Is the Super Bowl. I might jump on in the morning, but I can't imagine you guys would jump on at night. But we'll play it by ear. If you guys want, maybe I'll jump on and do it with you. But hopefully that helps, guys. God bless.